Hyundai, they've given us a second product in the N lineup, and this time they've priced it really competitive. I say that because in a market like ours that is getting expensive by the day, the Venue N Line, it sits just north of 13 lakhs. Now for reference, the Maruti Suzuki Brezza in a top shelf variant will cost you almost a lakh more by the time you get the cars road legal.
So what does 13 lakh get you? And are there any compromises that you should be aware of?
Alright, there is plenty of enthusiasm to be cherished inside the cabin of the Hyundai Venue N Line, and that is down to the enhancements that Hyundai has made in addition to that twin-tip exhaust that adds to the aural effect inside the cabin. Now bear in mind the Hyundai Venue N Line, it has the same engine and power output as the Venue Turbo, which means the 1-litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine puts out 120 horses and 172 Newton meters of torque and sends power to the front wheels via a 7-speed DCT. But look, flappy paddles! One thing that you need to make sure is that this drive mode is selected to sport. You have 3 modes: eco, normal and sport. Select it to sport because it just sharpens the throttle response a lot better, and it also just splashes red on the instrument cluster, and that it does entice you. It does egg you to drive this a little faster, a little harder.
You've got a suspension setup that's firmer by about 30% and slightly heavier steering setup. It doesn't feel a whole lot different in the city, but I really love the way that it weighs as you gather speed. When you're hot on the heels of a Brezza, you will be enjoying yourself in here. These changes make it a better handler. Body roll is well contained, and the steering, although still very artificial and disconnected, allows for better control. Enthusiastic drivers will certainly love the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. All of this combined brings out an experience far more superior than the standard Venue.
It is quite an enjoyable experience driving the Hyundai Venue N Line, but I'll tell you what, Hyundai has made no changes to this DCT transmission, which means that the shift speeds are exactly like the Venue Turbo. Now, I wish Hyundai would have made a few changes because that would definitely have helped shave a few seconds off the 0 to 100 sprint and thus helped you earn a few bragging rights when you're talking about this SUV to your mates. But possibly in the near future, that would also have meant that you incur a few expensive bills, and us Indians, well, we don't like that. I mean, we don't appreciate such things, do we? So Hyundai, well, they've made a very logical decision in keeping the transmission the way it is. And I'll tell you what, if you're not demanding too much of this SUV, it performs just fine. In fact, it's adequate for most of the Indians out there. It's quite fun, to be honest.
It's not just the driving experience that woos you away. It's also got the looks. Based on the facelifted Venue, the N Line adds plenty drama by introducing a detailed dark chrome grille and lots of red accents on the bumper, cladding and roof rails. There are also red calipers from factory, so you don't spray paint them yourself.
Now all of the drama from the outside is carried forward on the inside as well, which means the driver and the occupants, well, they are greeted to an all-black cabin with lots of red splashed around. The seats, well, they get a checkered flag with the N logo, and it just adds to the sportiness of this SUV. Lots of red stitching and red piping on the seats. This gear knob with the N branding is quite nice. A 3-spoke steering wheel, again, quite nice. Everything is just so easily accessible from where I am seated. It just is a very joyous experience. If your family or even your wife try and keep you away from this toy, well, here's a little advice on how you can keep them convinced. You point there at those rear discs because they really add to the stopping power of the Hyundai Venue N Line. And if they are still not convinced, you can point up here.
What? At God?
At God? No, I mean, this is a dual cam dash cam that comes installed with the Hyundai Venue N Line. Please, uska shot le lena. मैं जरा चाय लेके आता हूँ तेरे लिए.
Although sporty, the Venue N Line is a shade smaller than some SUVs of this segment, and that does limit the space on offer, especially for the rear occupants. Well, these facts are made evident by its dimensions, but what isn't is just how well packaged this SUV is. In terms of features, although it misses on ventilated seats and a 360-degree camera, everything else derives great driving pleasure. So, is it worth 13 big ones? With features like an 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, connected car tech, ambient lighting, powered driver's seat, integrated air purifier, and a digital instrument cluster, over and above the upgrades that enhance its driving experience and looks even further. Well, the Venue N Line, in my books, takes the crown of being the best all-rounder in this segment. In fact, it offers even more.